Hello and welcome, dear colleagues and fellow cinema lovers. Today, I will be talking about 2000 Italian erotic drama film Chichi, directed by Tinto Brass. The film was originally entitled as Transgredire in Italian, and it was released with the title Chichi in other languages. So, I'm going to offer a semiotic analysis of this specific film. So let us begin with the director, Tinto Brass, who is a well-known Italian film director and screenwriter. He initiated with avant-garde cinema and made some well-acclaimed films. But later, he shifted his attention to make erotic romantic cinema, for which he is known even today. He has contributed more than 28 feature-length films. He is popular for framing feminine beauty in a unique and evocative manner. About the film Chicky, Tinto Brass, known for his provocative and often erotic films, uses Chicky to explore themes of desire, freedom, and social transgression through a blend of explicit imagery, narrative structure, and symbolic elements. It is stylized as tra and then into bracket SCRE and then dire in Italian, which is a play on the verbs transgredire, which means to transgress, and tradire, which means to betray. Film revolves around a young Italian female named Carla and her relationship with her Italian boyfriend and her female acid agent Moira. The narrative revolves around themes of sexual liberation, infidelity, and the tension between personal freedom and societal norms. So, moving into the semiotic analysis, the character of Carla is itself the most important sign in the film. The character of Carla is a central signifier in the film, embodying female sexual agency and defiance of traditional gender roles. Her uninhibited exploration of desire positions her as a symbol of modernity and autonomy, challenging the patriarchal expectations of fidelity and modesty. However, this liberation is complicated by Brass's male gaze, which often objectifies her, creating a paradox where her freedom is both celebrated and commodified for a voyeuristic audience. The representation of Carla in the movie signifies the objectification of feminine body for the consumption of male spectators. Carla's wardrobe, often revealing or completely absent, function as a sign of her sexual openness. Her lack of clothing in certain scenes symbolizes vulnerability but also empowerment. As she controls her desirability, props like mirrors used in several scenes signify self reflection and voyeurism, inviting both Carla and the audience to observe her actions to gain pleasure from. The film's portrayal of female sexuality is ambivalent. While Carla's agency suggests empowerment, her objectification through Brass's lens reinforces patriarchal structures. This duality reflects broader cultural debates about feminism and sexual liberation in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, where women's freedom was often co opted by media for male consumption. Another important sign in the movie is the space itself. The setting of London signifies a space of cosmopolitan freedom, contrasting with a more conservative, traditional Italian context, which is implied through Matteo's perspective. The narrative creates the dichotomy of London versus Italy through the semiotic space of the characters of Carla and Matteo. London's urban landscape, with its anonymity and diversity, becomes a semiotic field for Carla's transgressions, symbolizing a break from cultural constraints. Here, what is important for the audience to understand is that Carla is ultimately an outsider in London. So she doesn't have any what we call social traces. She's not in her native place that the people will recognize her. Well, Matteo is still in Italy, so if he's doing something, he will be observed by the people who knows him pretty well. So he will have to behave in a what we call conservative setting. The contrast between Carla's adventures in London and Matteo's more traditional life in Italy can be read as a semiotic commentary on Italy's transition from a conservative, Catholic influenced society to a more liberal, globalized one. Carla's behavior in London signifies a rejection of Italian traditionalism, yet her eventual reconciliation with Matteo suggests a negotiation between Italian versus European identities. Carla's temporary London apartment, which is again a space arranged by her estate agent lover, symbolizes a liminal space where societal rules are suspended. Is modern minimalist design contrast with the warmth of traditional Italian homes, signifying a break from convention. The phone, for example, used for Carla and Matteo's long distance communication, is a sign of connection but also spatial distance. It represents the fragile link between their relationship and the inevitability of their emotional and physical separation. The significance of the title of the film, especially the Italian title, and the Italian title Transgredire, that is to transgress, underscores the film's core semiotic message, the act of crossing boundaries. Those boundaries could be moral, social, and or sexual boundaries. Carla crosses regional boundary, that is, she moves from Italy to London. She also sexually associates herself with another female, that is, transgressing her sexual boundary from heterosexual to bisexual. She accepts a modern, playful lifestyle over the traditional one. These are all transgressions. The narrative uses Carla's affairs to signify rebellion against monogamy and societal norms. Though the film's resolution, that is, her return to Matteo, suggests a return to conventional structures, creating a tension between subversion and conformity, male gaze and female body. Brage's visual style is laden with semiotic significance, particularly through his use of the camera to emphasize eroticism and the female body. The camera often lingers on Carla's body, particularly her posterior, a recurring motif in Brass's oeuvre. This focus is a sign of fetishization, aligning with Laura Mulvey's concept of the male gaze, where the female body is constructed as an object of desire for a presumed male spectator. Close ups and low angle shots of Carla's body parts, especially her buttocks, serve as visual signs that prioritize physicality over emotional or psychological depth, reinforcing the film's erotic agenda. The film employs warm, vibrant colors like reds and golds, especially in intimate scenes, signifying passion and vitality, and to represent female body in objectified and foregrounded manner. We do not see male body represented in equal erotic frame for the female spectators. Cooler tones like blues and grays appear in moments of emotional distance or conflict, such as Matteo's scenes in Italy. These chromatic choices function as semiotic codes, guiding the audience's emotional response to the narrative. The semiotic interplay between art and exploitation raises questions about whether Chiki critiques or perpetuates the commodification of sexuality. Mirrors appear frequently, as mentioned earlier, symbolizing self awareness, vanity, and the act of watching oneself. They also reflect the audience's voyeuristic role, implicating viewers in the act of gazing. Interestingly, we see only female body through the mirror. Genre and culture, Cicchi operates within the conventions of Italian commedia sexy all'italiana, known as sexy comedy genre, and Brass's own autorial style, which blends eroticism with social satire. Semiotically, the film engages with intertextual references to Brass's earlier works, such as La Moglie Virginie or Salon Kitty, where female sexuality is both celebrated and scrutinized. The exaggerated comedic tone and stereotypical characters, example Gracia, the lustful estate agent, function as genre-specific signs, signaling to audiences familiar with Italian sex comedies that the film is not to be taken too seriously. Yet, its provocative imagery invites deeper analysis. From a semiotic perspective, there are certain ideological implications. So, Chiki constructs a complex ideological message. On one hand, it champions sexual freedom and female agency, aligning with progressive ideals of individual choice. On the other, its reliance on the male gaze and conventional narrative closure in terms of Carla's return to Matteo reinforces traditional gender roles and monogamous norms. This ambivalence reflects a broader cultural tension between liberation and control, where sexual freedom is permitted only within certain boundaries. So that is all for today. Thank you.